Hello and welcome back to River Styx Media. It's that time of the month again. It's time for the monthly book review, and for the month of November we are reviewing, much like we did last year, it'll be about a book about the Canadian military, since it's a month of remembrance. We have Remembrance Day on November 11th, and we remember the fallen soldiers from World War I, World War II, and the more modern wars. So for this month, we are reviewing The War We Won Apart, the untold story of two elite agents who became one of the most decorated couples of World War II. So this is a novel about Sonia Butt, who was British, and Guy d'Artois, I'm probably mispronouncing that, I do apologize, who was a French-Canadian soldier. Now, they were both Canadian. Sonia was Canadian later, because she was British first. But they were not your typical soldiers. They were basically, like it says, two elite agents. They were spies. That's basically what they were. They were spies in World War II, and they actually were, I believe they were dropped behind enemy lines over in France. And they were actually part of cells to prepare for D-Day, is what they were doing. They were they were taking out train tracks, they were taking out supply lines, leading up to D-Day. Now, it does go into their life after the war, and Sonia, I believe Sonia, she didn't stay in the military too much. Now, Guy, he stayed in the military, and he ended up being an instructor, and he ended up training troops in various forms of espionage and tactics and that. He actually was a school teacher in one of the military schools. That didn't last very long because he's very strict and a lot of fellow instructors didn't like the way he taught, so it didn't last very long. But they ended up having quite a few children. They ended up having a bunch of grandchildren. Unfortunately, they are not around anymore. One thing that I love about these books is they always include pictures about their life. So there's I'm not sure if you can see this, but there is Sonia and Guy when they were in London around the time of their marriage in 1944. So, like, they were a couple. Now, there was a little bit of a love interest with Sonia. She had another, for lack of a better term, beau over in Britain before she met Guy. And as part of her cover, she actually had to pose as a couple with that person. She ended up telling Guy about it. Guy, nothing came about it. It was all part of keeping their cover. But yeah, I recommend The War We Won Apart by Nahlah Ayed. Again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. It gave you an insight into a side of Canada during World War II that everybody talks about. Talks about D-Day and Canada's role in that, and Canada's role in World War II. But this was more about, we had spies. We had spy cells in France in World War II. And they were working behind the scenes, and they were helping. It touches base on some of the brutality of Canada during World War II. basically, the one story, a guy didn't tolerate his the soldiers that were under him being tortured, so he ended up actually tracking down the Germans and torturing them in turn. But sorry, interrogating them in turn. But yeah, it was a good read. It was very interesting to learn about the training and learn about what they went through as spies, and how bad the Germans were with some of the women. There's a little bit about that in regards to Sonya. I'm not going to get into it because it's not something I like to talk about. But yeah, I highly recommend this if you want insight into Canada during World War II and that the spy networks that we had up. I'm sorry, I'm still dealing with a cough from being sick a few weeks ago. But yeah, I definitely recommend The War We Won Apart by Nahlah Ayed. And as always, if there's anything you guys want me to check out, be sure to leave a comment down below. If I have it, I will set it aside. If I don't have it, I will be sure to look into getting it. And that being said, we'll see you next month.